back in my chair. I feel like Alice in Wonderland.
We're missing the chair of the Board of Public Works.
Yeah.
Photo ops.
Right.
Oh, yes.
Gary has a jacketed item, the joint referral.
No, Gary doesn't have it.
Number 12?
Yeah, it's not in the stack I gave.
No, it's not here. I don't have it.
It's got 12. I don't remember. No, I'm sorry.
Paul, do you know what the joint referral is?
Yeah, it's 12.
If anyone cares, they stayed the
I don't have it
execution of that
in my
serial killer.
No. Gary, do you have number
Can't
12?
believe they did that.
You shouldn't.
I don't think so.
The guy that shot Larry Flynn.
I started with 13, Paul.
I'll go look and see if it's in the clip.
Okay.
Alderman Barzak,
Yeah,
you
they
don't
stayed
have
it. I can't
I'm gonna
believe they
peek
did
real
that.
quick. I don't think so.
No?
I thought I was going to go with AF. That's why I didn't think of it.
You look at the last one. Nope.
Nothing's going smooth. I'll go get it.
Nope.
Anytime.
Don't have it.
Yeah.
I think Joe Burke started on the discussion. I'll go get it.
19.
Well, Administration Finance Committee, all 5 members are in attendance. Gary?
And Public Works, all 5 members are in attendance.
Joe Birch?
You're on.
Okay. Well, this is the same program that was brought up in February. We looked into it a little further, so I can go through this and just give you a quick reminder what it is about. This would be a program to provide a funding mechanism for doing rehabilitation of private sanitary services. Part of the reason we need that is because we're required to reduce the clear water getting into our sanitary system through MMSD's requirements and the state of Wisconsin. And the most I&I is coming from private property from all the studies done. So what this program does is it provides a great benefit to the homeowners because of the age of our city. A lot of these laterals are getting to be in poor condition, and they can be quite expensive to fix. So this provides a funding mechanism for that to help keep these functioning without too much cost to the owners. Under this program, the property owner still retains the ownership of the lateral, and so you'd have to do the normal maintenance, clear blockages, and then when there is a problem, they would show us there's a problem. We can put it on a priority list to be repaired. For emergencies, we can have the emergency repair done right away. So back in February, I was estimating about $32 annual cost for this. After discussions with Mark Lace, we agreed that $50 would be more realistic. Yes, not to put us, in a possible liability is having too many to repair. So now the proposed amount is $50 annually. And the emergency repairs would have a $1,000 special assessment. So the special assessment gives the homeowner an advantage of spreading that cost over 10 years, like our other projects. So this program really serves a lot of purposes. I mean, it's a protection for the residents. It'll help meet our goals for flow. And the cost of this, in comparison to some of the insurance policies that are being offered, the least expensive one I've seen is in the city of Madison. It's a private insurance company that's offering $70 a year to insure your lateral. It doesn't seal your lateral up, it just repairs. If there's a problem, they repair it. They don't rehab the whole thing, get rid of any water, they just fix the broken spot. So at $50, this is a pretty good deal. So,
Mr. Chairman? Alderman Lysick?
The concept is very intriguing. I thought so when it was discussed earlier. I think it's an idea that certainly has merit, and I think something should be introduced to the council for public hearing and for discussion by this August body so that we can get a full airing in this community, see what the residents feel about something like this, and then take it from there.
Public Works, Alderman Chaplesky.
Now, it's going to go up to $50, but you said special assessment? So there's like a deductible? Or?
If you have an emergency repair, if your lateral collapsed and you go in there and repair it on an emergency basis, you pay $1,000 special assessment. Usually these cost anywhere from $8,000 to $15,000 if you have them done. So it's still a good deal. It's a lot of money, but what it does is it enables that homeowner to spread that cost over 10 years.
Okay. Also now, I know there was a couple of problems with it before with Scott saying, and just something about our it's going to go against our loans, do we have our...
There was a concern that if there's so much work and this isn't enough money, we could be committed to spending a lot more than we have. So that's why I met with finance and came up with a little more doable, more agreeable price.
I'd be also interested in the legalities of it.
There are very significant questions about the legalities of it. I think Paul circulated the email that I first sent in response to this. Since then, Joe and I and Mark Weiss, the finance manager, and Paul Ziwa, the administrative officer, have exchanged emails, and there's still some significant legal concerns on it. If you saw Joe's handout, the only city he cited in Wisconsin, the city of Racine, they go to the property line to do it. They don't go onto the private property. And so if this is introduced, I'll submit to you a full-blown legal analysis of it, setting out the potential problems. One, just sort of a quick summary of it is, it can't be a tax because we're not authorized to tax for something like this, so it has to be a fee. If it's a fee, the law says that the fee has to match what you pay in. And so if you're paying for just general infrastructure for the sewer system, you're paying your share of whatever the system is. Now, here we're paying for what's on private property. And so I'm paying the fee for my private property to be repaired when it breaks, or to be fixed when it breaks. And so if we exhaust our fund and yet multiple additional people submit a claim that theirs has broken, they've paid the fee, we won't be able to tell them that they don't get the benefit because they've paid the fee. So we'll be committing ourselves to that. And potentially, if we would get a catastrophic number of these failures, it would greatly exceed what is in the fund, and the city would have to pay for that. And that, if we had to borrow money for that, that could go against our debt limit, yes. So that's sort of a nutshell of the legal analysis of it.
So with that exposure, possible exposure, and Scott indicated you, in any event, you would be submitting to us your opinion at the time, either before or after the public hearing. We want to wait for the public that opinion before we schedule public hearings. I think so.
Sure.
So we would just basically pull this up. Pull it up.
I have one comment. I guess you could look at the public main system the same way. If we had all of a sudden catastrophic failure through our system, we would be in the same problem. We don't have enough money. We'd have to increase the cost for the sanitary service. So,
Mr. Chair,
Mr.
Public Works,
okay.
Alderman Rowe.
Joe, you started out by saying we are required. We, West Allis, or we as anybody who's served by MMSD?
well, MMSD settled a lawsuit with the state of Wisconsin, which all the communities signed off on. And part of the tasks that we had to do was go after I&I on private.
Again, we as a city, or we as all the members of MMSD?
Well, we as a city signed off on it individually, but it's for MMSD and all the communities that flow to MMSD. So there's some requirement to reduce your flows, check the flows off of private property. They don't tell you how you can do that, but one of the requirements was to have a lateral inspection program, but there's problems with that too.
And again, if they want, let's just say, 10% compliance, is that we as a city or we as the region? We as all the members of MMSD, because we could start by disconnecting all the downspouts in Whitefish Bay and Shorewood and the east side of Milwaukee.
Yeah, but they're connected to the combined system.
Right, well, that's
completely different.
inflow.
That's two different types of systems, and that's where it's very confusing. The separated system, which is us,
Right.
and the vast majority of MMSD is completely different than what the
Okay.
combined system is, so you can't compare the two. And the regulations in that regarding when it's rightful for MMSD to dump into the lake compared to when they can't, and how they do that is completely different with the requirements of the combined system and the requirements of the sanitary system. And I could talk for an hour and explain it if you want.
No.
I'd be more than happy.
What was
The board.
stipulated by the state sometimes was individual by each community had to do something special, but there was a general, every community had to follow some general rules. And that's where the lateral and I&I on private property had to be dealt with.
Thank you. Public Works, Alderman Ranky.
We have an aging city, definitely, and from being on the Public Works Committee, I can attest to the lateral expenses are enormous for all the homeowners. I commend you on coming up with at least somewhat of a plan, but I do agree with Tom, we should have a hearing on this to let the public also have an input in the decision-making process. My concern is putting the fee on the water bill. People are complaining already about all these fees that are connected to the water bill, and for some, $50 is a lot of money. Will we make it for the homeowner to do it in increments so it wouldn't be that
It would be
drastic?
$12.50
$50 you mentioned a fee annually.
annually.
Yes.
But it would be quarterly $12.50.
Oh, I see. Okay, quarterly.
So yeah, it would be
Oh,
divided
that's
into
not,
4.
but there still will be rumbling about that, I'm sure. And I thought we were getting a monetary assistance from MMSD regarding this
They are-
particular project. Are we not?
Not this particular project. They are giving us money to go on private property to do I&I reduction.
Okay, so that's different.
It's the same purpose, slightly different. I mean, this would be the city's way of maintaining it forever.
Right.
I can assure you that MMSD is not going to continue that funding.
Right.
That was
No,
seed
yeah.
money to get this program started, to get the communities used to the whole concept and idea. But they are going to, as sure as I'm sitting here, they're going to pull out, but they're not going to forget it. Because their intent was always to get to private laterals and disconnect to sump pumps. And this is their way out. It's not backdoor. I mean, they're upfront about it, and everybody knows what the problem is. But it's their attempt to get communities to start thinking about it and start entering in the program, some kind of program with it, because the issue is not going to go away.
Let me
It was
tell you
going to
what.
get worse
Yeah.
It's going to get
with
very
all the
much worse.
laterals that are collapsing.
With the MMSD program, we can't go and repair a collapsed lateral. We can go into an area, if it's in an area where we're exceeding the flow rate that they allow, we can do work in that area to reduce the flows. But we can't go in and pay for somebody's lateral to be repaired that collapsed.
Yeah. MMSD wants to reduce flow, so they actually kind of like collapsed sewers.
Because then the person has to repair it. So.
Keep it in the basement.
Public Works, Alderman Weigel.
A couple questions. Right now, how many of these repairs are going on in a year? Ballpark. 15, 20? I mean, they all pull a permit, right?
Yes, and that is about the range.
Okay.
It could vary year to year. We had
Well, sure
a
it
bad
does.
year.
Could be five one year and 25 another year. So how does that, I know we originally talked $32 a year, and 9 months later, or 10 months later, or whatever, we're at 50.
There was some concern about the liability, and that's
Well, I understand that, but what's it going to be next year? I mean, obviously, if we approve this program and go forward with it, and 50 is not enough, we're going to be committed to it, because we will have made a promise to our property owners,
Yes.
and it may have to go up.
I would think that you would want to adjust in special assessment rather than the rate. And you may get a
Change the deductible, or change the copay.
deductible.
Change the copay.
Yes. So it'd
I'll use
become
insurance terms.
a little more. If each year you would want to monitor how much money was spent,
Yeah.
and we'd have to trend it over several
Okay, and
years.
so if a property owner spent $15,000 this year repairing theirs, and we pass this, starting next year, his isn't going to collapse for 40 years, right?
100 years maybe.
Maybe 100 years,
Yeah.
right? So there's no, well, we'll give you 2 years off. No, when this passes, it's going to be mandatory on every piece of private property, commercial, industrial, everything.
This is only residential property.
Just residential.
Yes.
So every residential property, even if you just spent $15,000 last year to fix yours, you're going to be on the hook.
Yeah.
Because you're still contributing to the I&I problem. Even if your lateral is okay, you're still contributing to the problem. Just because you're lucky enough to live upstream like me, I'm still contributing to a downside neighbor.
Well, the
on
problem
the
is
east
when
side
the
that's getting
pipes
it, that's
leak.
getting whacked.
Okay. And if in a year there's a big positive balance in this fund, because we only had 5 replacements, we're going to go out and actively seek.
Well, the plan is to actively seek areas anyway. So we may go into an area and do 100 homes.
So this may not just be used for emergency repairs.
No, it's-
This may be
no.
used for starting at get the low-hanging fruit,
Yes.
like we've been targeting neighborhoods so far already.
Most of this, I would expect, would be targeted into neighborhoods with high flows. However, at first, there may be a bulk of people that had problems. They got roots coming back every year. They get backups. Those would be put on a priority list. So,
Vitelli?
Hey, Joe, how many homes are having, at the present time, sump pumps? I mean, do we have records on that?
I don't think we have accurate records of that. No, I would say it's somewhere between a third to a half that don't have sump pumps.
So the question is, many of those people, they already comply with the rules that we tried before.
Well, the sump pump, the
sump pump has some relations to that too, right?
Yeah. Under this, we could do a sump pump the way that it's proposed, because it would be to reduce infiltration off private property. MMSD's money right now is being used entirely for sump pumps.
Yeah.
So I would expect that we'd continue to use that until that dries up. And we'd have to look at what direction we want to go. So until we get this in place, it's hard to tell where it's going to go.
Do we want a public hearing before or after Scott's opinion, written opinion?
Well, I think you want his opinion.
Yeah, I think we get your opinion right away, Scott.
think you want to get it-
opinion
you
as
wanna
far as
get the ball-
deliberating. This committee the
Yeah.
gentleman's deliberating.
Get something before us, so you
Yeah,
can start
yeah.
discussing it, get city attorney's opinion, get all the facts, and then you can hold a public hearing when you have
Yeah,
all the
exactly.
facts in.
So let's hold this up. Okay.
I just had one more question. Will this program have a sunset clause?
No.
It'll be
This
just
is a
ongoing forever and ever.
continual-
Once it's done.
They may adjust
It's not going to end.
cost-wise if we found
Might
that,
lower the rate down the road.
30, 40 years from now,
Yep.
we didn't need as much, you can always adjust the cost.
Okay.
All right. Public Works, go back to...
Did I say that out loud?
So no action to be taken on that tonight?
Holding that one.
We're gonna hold it.
So hold.
Very good.
I'll give this to Paul.
Oh, look, he voted first. What am I going to do without him?
Go back to your tiny rooms.
Go back to my tiny room where my feet touch the floor on the chairs I sit in.
Thank you. Yeah, 29.
Hey, Steve.
Would be able to buy product from customers.
But it's check. It can't be a pawn check. It's not a pawn check.
Yeah. So pawn is a loan. That doesn't mean people are going to come in and sell stolen goods.
Oh no, I mean if he's doing a transaction, if there's any kind of transaction like that, he's going to require the system.
Does he know that?
Yeah.
Well, so then he is planning to buy.
Well, no, it's the second-hand license.
What's that?
We're still on the mic, so
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be.
be careful.
Yeah.
He sells
That's what it's going to be.
But if somebody, every
I want them to go in there and sell them.
every time that thing turns green, watch your language.
With that, Public Works will continue. First item on tonight's agenda is item number 19. It's a resolution authorizing and directing the Director of Public Works, City Engineer, to submit an isolated lighting permit application to the Wisconsin Department of Transportation for permission to install, operate, and maintain lighting units on Dakota Street pedestrian bridge within the limits of I-894 right-of-way.
Okay, the DOT is demanding a permit for lights that they're installing, that they're asking us to operate and maintain. Only the DOT would think this is smart. The school district has agreed to paying 1/2 of the cost of the lights. No, the full cost. Full cost of the lights. Full cost of the electricity to do the lights. Sorry, with us plowing, maintaining the pedestrian bridge over 894.
The new one.
The new one.
Is that okay with us?
Good. Move to approve.
No.
The bridge isn't needed in the first
No,
place.
yeah.
But the DOT is going to install it, so...
Who's paying the fence? Who's paying the fence in 5 years when it rusts?
What's it?
Right now, unfortunately, there is a motion.
Okay.
Is there a second? Okay, it's been moved by Alderman Ranky, seconded by Alderman Weigel. Further discussion.
Mr. Chair.
Alderman Weigel?
So beyond just, so the school district's paying for the hardware
For electricity.
and electricity, and we're still on the hook for long-term maintenance.
Well, not the long-term maintenance of the bridge, no. What this has only got to do with the lights.
Okay,
School
that's
district's
what we're
paying
talking-
electricity.
yeah.
We're going to be replacing the bulb because we got the equipment to replace LED lights, which aren't going to be needed to replacement in 10 years. And depends on how much it snows this year.
And plowing?
Yeah, we're stuck. The city plows. We do plow
We
it.
plow it onto the freeway below? How does that
No,
go?
we kind of
You
push
kind
it
of
and
scooch it
slowly
up?
but surely. Now, is it going to be to the bare sidewalk pavement a lot of times? Chances are no. It's not a high priority. I mean, we try to do something with it, but hey, we have other things to do. Plus, the kids get driven in the winter time.
With that, there is a motion and a second. Further discussion, Alderman Ranky? Did you have a... Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. There's a 19A. It's a resolution to approve the bid of Dakota Intertech Corporation for the demolition of the former Yellow Freight Terminal located at 11528 West Rogers in the city of West Allis, an amount of $208,436.
Yeah, the demo of the Yellow Freight building on Rogers.
Right.
And where's that money coming from?
It's part of a deal or a state grant, some state grant that John got along with the TIF monies. It's a blending of the two.
Move approval.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Weigel, seconded by Alderman Chaplewski. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Present. Seriously.
Alderman wrote voting present. Got it. Number 20 is a communication from the Director of Public Works, City Engineer, regarding snow plowing salting operations.
Okay, I believe Alderman Chaplewski had talked with Dave, I don't know, maybe a week or so ago, regarding a policy on snow plowing. Now, I guess I was a little confused, and what I gave you tonight was our standard operating procedures for snow plowing, along with what the policies and procedures manual states for snow plowing. The front side is what we've already done with recent policy changes in here. As you know, we got the alternate. There's alternate side parking now for local streets. We've committed to call out snow emergencies earlier than we have been in order to let everybody know before they fall asleep, even though that can come back to bite us. We'll see how that works. One of the problems was that if we are called off our local streets, because we're losing the mains, so to speak. We're going to pick up where we left off instead of start from the beginning again, which of course causes its own problems. Remember, there was a transition team concerns when that was going through. Need to monitor driving time. So that's going to, depending on the snowfall, could impact our operations out there. Drivers need to go home and rest. There was some minor reductions in the salt barrels out there and some minor changes with salt routes there too. So we have done a number of policy changes this past summer. I'm hopeful, and I think, otherwise I wouldn't be suggesting them, that they're going to work. But before we formally incorporate them into a written policy, let's at least give it a try. And according to the National Weather Service, this is going to be a very good winter to give it a try. It's going to be cold and wet.
Also, in the jacket, there's something that we want to review their standard operating procedures and maybe discuss a visit to Franklin or something with Brian.
Very good point. I'm sure. We last week we visited the city of Franklin. They've been using a brine pre-treatment process. Them, along with the Milwaukee County and Wauwatosa, starting up this year too. It's basically you mix salt and water and you lay that down prior to it starts to snow. And Franklin's been trying it now for 4 years. They're still playing around with it naturally. There's always a learning curve there. But they're pretty much committed to it. What we're going to do is we're going to try it out. We're going to probably buy it from Milwaukee County and spread it on some of our main streets out there. Give it a shot. There are some critical percentages of salt or water in there that you really have to maintain, otherwise you really can literally apply ice water onto your cold pavement and create ice. So that's a big thing that I'm sitting there going, praying that won't happen to us, or won't in the future, because you do have to very carefully monitor the mixing stuff, because it is a big mixing vat that you...
And how's it applied? Do we have the equipment?
We're going to be in the process of, if we don't have it, we're going to get some as an experiment. And I really think we're not the first, but we're not the last. The Oak Creeks of the world, we found out, maybe Hales Corners that don't. So I never want to be first, but I don't want to be last. I want to be in the middle.
When you say we're going to get some equipment, I'm going to assume that there's companies out there that'll give us this equipment to try at no charge, and then if it works, we then come in and purchase the equipment. Is that correct? Or are we going to go out and purchase equipment and then play with it?
I can't promise. I mean, the first thing we'd probably do is take a look at leasing, renting something.
Okay.
And give it a shot. Again, I want to try this year and see if we can perfect it and see if we're capable.
Mains only? Everywhere? Citywide?
For right now, for this winter, mains only.
Mains only?
Mains only, and probably only a couple mains.
Oh,
I don't want to give this. Okay. I want to experiment because, again, it's really critical in the percentages out there and how you do this, and I don't want to necessarily mess up everything in one fell swoop, even though I'm more than capable of doing it.
Mr. Chair?
Alderman Weigel.
So we're expecting a net drop in the load, and the salt load in the watershed.
Yeah.
And so...
About 30%, Franklin, uses less.
Okay.
Really?
And a net cost savings?
30% of salt, what is it, $50 a ton?
No, but we're using water and...
Labor.
Is it more labor, less labor? Trucks are still driving, I guess.
Yeah, trucks are still driving. We haven't looked at that, too. I mean, you are making two passes. In some cases, just because you laid a brine down doesn't necessarily mean that you don't go through and lay any salt across there.
So the real, it's going to have a positive environmental impact and a net savings, mostly in the salt costs.
Okay. And along with that, we use calcium chloride now, which is extremely corrosive to our trucks. So even if we get away from that, I believe this will be more than worth it. Even if we use the same amount of salt, that calcium chloride is just terrible.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, Alderman Reinke.
You mentioned that it was proven in Milwaukee already?
Milwaukee County is using it, Milwaukee City, Milwaukee's using it.
Okay, for how long?
That I don't know. We looked into it now just recently, trying to figure ideas out.
What's taking so long for, I've seen beet juice too, some places use beet juice.
Yeah, that's pretty much what Franklin.
Yeah, it's a substitute. It's called geomilk, so it's kind of a lesser sugary type of content in there. And all that does is adhere to the asphalt or concrete surface and makes it stick more, I guess. Okay. So.
What took us so long? There's no new technology here, is there?
Well, it's pretty new in this area. I mean,
Well,
again,
I know, but we just didn't invent the idea of.
No, but like I said, I don't like to be guinea pig, and I
You know,
want to be last.
I'm with you 100% on that. I'm kind of leaning that way on other projects we discussed tonight.
Alderman Chapleski?
I just want to backtrack here a little bit. What caused this was last year when we had the bad snowfall and there wasn't plowing for I don't know how many hours on my streets, and I says, well, our policy is, my policy that I've heard all these years is this, and it turns out there was nothing in writing. It was just something that for years everybody said, well, this is our policy. We do the main streets and the sites, and that's why I said at that time we should have a policy that we have in writing so we know what you're going to do.
Well, what I gave you there has been in writing for quite some time, okay?
Last year wasn't.
What?
Last year wasn't.
It says revised in 2010.
I don't know. No, well, I'm saying, the procedures that they use, the way they out there plowed, when I was talking about this, is, well, there's nothing in writing. Can I see someone? And
No,
there's
I think
nothing in writing.
that was a misunderstanding, and I apologize for that. I think that we thought you were asking for a specific policy that, okay, if it snows this, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Every storm is different, every weather conditions are different. Just because the overall policy, general policy, that we start to plow at 3 inches or more, doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to plow 3 inches when we know it's going to be 50 degrees out tomorrow. So I'm sorry.
Part of it was, where you plow this side of the street one day, and then everybody moves their car to that side, then you plow this side. Well, we weren't doing that either. I understand some cases, because heavy snowfall, it's hard to get back and do that right away, or vehicles in the way and stuff. But it's. I just want to have something in writing, so when I state something, we have a policy, and we have. So this is it. I'm happy with it. So with that, we just place on file.
It's communication and
just place on.
Yeah,
place on file. I'll make a motion.
Second.
Been moved by Alderman Chapleski, seconded by Alderman Weigel. Is there any further discussion? With that, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Number 21 we're going to hold?
Yep.
Number 22.
Excuse me, why are we holding 21?
We haven't gotten anything back from the county yet. You don't have anything in the jacket regarding the agreement. And I haven't seen anything.
Because they're holding off with the chalet until we sign. The day they sign this deal is the day they sell us the chalet.
Pretty much.
And so they're holding up the whole progress on this issue. They don't trust us. I can't believe that. Where does that students go?
22, resolution to confirm and adopt the report of Director of Public Works, City Engineer, containing the schedule of proposed assessments for improvement.
Move approval.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Weigel, seconded by Alderman Ranke. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Number 23 is going to follow the same vein. Final resolution authorized.
Move for approval.
Moved by Alderman Chapleski.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Weigel. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 24
Move
was
for approval.
That was the public hearing on the abandonment of the alley. Moved by Alderman Chapleski, seconded by Alderman Ranke. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. With that, that's the conclusion of Public Works. The meeting now will be turned over to Alderman Chapleski, Chairman of License and Health. Alderman Chapleski.
Okay. First thing we have is item number 32.
Place on file.
Is it place on file? Communication?
Yeah. Second.
Any further discussion? Oh, we're missing Alderman. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I'll mark it down. Can't have him miss the last meeting.
He'll be here.
Then we have 33. This is the agreement with...
This is just, Mr. Chair,
yes.
They're just getting their actual legal name straight on the application.
That's correct.
Right.
Place on file.
Do I have a second? Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. And we have number 34.
Move for approval.
Second.
That's just standard bartender licenses applications.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And then the police reports. Again.
35.
Place on file.
Alderman Sangstack, second in that?
Second.
Who Alderman Road?
Alderman Road. And seconded by Alderman Saying second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed? That carries. And we do not have a meeting next week.
That's it?
That's it.
I'm ready to come next week. I'm available.
Yeah, except for you have no authority anymore.
No, I am. No, I'll be here.
That's right.
I'm ready to come next. I thought you had to, Monica.
Send them a letter if there's a meeting.
I'll be down. I'll be down.
You're not deer hunting?
Yeah.
Or is that the week?
What's that?
Or is that the week after?
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we
We're trying to get used to working without you, Jeff.
Do we have to move to adjourn? I don't think so.
Yeah.